I thought I was saving my family. Instead, I was funding their escape. When everything fell apart, the silence that followed was louder than any betrayal I could have imagined. I knew something was wrong the second I heard my sister's voice. It had that forced calm, like someone trying to convince themselves that everything was going to be okay when it clearly was not. "Hey, Mark," she said. "I would not ask if it was not serious." That was how it started. Her husband's construction business had taken a hit. A big one. Some sort of permit issue, followed by a fine they could not pay. Then one of their trucks broke down, then payroll fell behind, and the next thing they knew, the bank was on their backs. They needed a loan. Now, I have never been the type to throw money around. I grew up watching my old man stretch a dollar like it was rubber. I worked 2 jobs through college. Bought my house in my 30s, secondhand furniture and all. Every dime I saved, I earned. But this was family. My sister told me they had tried everything, refinancing, credit cards, even asked my parents. Nothing had worked. And now they were 2 months from losing the house, maybe less. The way she said it, how the kids would be crushed, how they might have to move in with her in-laws. I could feel the panic through the phone. I pictured my niece's little soccer trophies in boxes. I pictured her husband, Dale, trying to explain to his crew why they were shutting down. And even though every part of my gut told me to think this through, I said the words before I even had a plan. "I will help you." I had about $62,000 in savings at the time. That was everything I had set aside from 10 years of freelance IT work, website gigs, back-end cleanup, some security patch contracts. That money was my cushion. But when I heard her crying, when she whispered, "Thank you," like I had just pulled her off a ledge, I told myself it was the right thing to do. Family comes first. That was the rule, right? So I took out a second loan against my house. $30,000. Added another 10 grand from my own savings. The rest I wired straight to her that week. I told myself I would be okay. I would hustle, take on more projects, eat canned soup for a few months if I had to. This was temporary. I believed that. "You will get through this," I told her. "We all will." I even pictured the call 6 months down the line. My sister telling me they had turned things around. Dale's company back on its feet. Maybe they would even send a thank you card or take me out to dinner. Yeah, that is the future I saw. But what I did not know, what I could not have known, was that within 4 months, the money would be gone, the business would fold, and the same people I broke myself to help would vanish like smoke. And the worst part? It would take me nearly a year to realize I had been abandoned by the very people I thought I saved. The last message I got from my sister was 1 line long. "Sorry, Mark. We're doing what we have to do." That was 7 months ago. I still have not heard from her since. After I sent the money, something shifted in me. Not in a bad way, at least not at first. It felt good. Like maybe, for once, I had done something that mattered. I had never been the center of the family. My sister Amanda always got the spotlight. She was the good one. The one who married young, had the cute kids, did all the family holidays with perfect little decorations and those matching pajamas everyone posts online. Me? I was the quiet brother with a quiet job. The one who never brought anyone to Christmas dinner. The one they said kept to himself. But now, here I was, saving the day. Amanda called me twice that week. Told me how grateful they were. Said I was the only one who stepped up. Said Dale was working day and night to turn things around, and that this was just the bridge they needed. I wanted to believe it. God, I needed to believe it. Even when the first contractor called me, someone Dale owed money to, I brushed it off. "Small delay," Amanda said. "We are sorting it out." Then came a weird moment. I remember it so clearly. It was 2 weeks after the loan, and I checked social media during lunch. Amanda had posted photos from a cabin getaway. A hot tub, new hiking boots. Her caption said something about getting space to breathe. I stared at the screen for a while. Breathing. That was what they were doing. Meanwhile, I had picked up a third freelance contract, barely sleeping, poring over security reports and server logs until my eyes burned. I told myself not to judge. Maybe it was a gift from someone. Maybe they needed the break. Maybe they had it planned long before. But deep down, I could feel it. That quiet thump in your chest when something does not sit right. Still, I said nothing. I kept telling myself, it is family. This will pass. Then came month 2. The updates started getting vague. "We are close to locking in new contracts," Dale said. "Amanda is handling the accounting now. We just need a little more time." I offered to help. Thought maybe I could audit their back-end systems, help them streamline billing. Amanda said, We have it under control. And that was the moment I should have stepped back. But I did not. Instead, I doubled down. I gave them another $6,000 from my own savings. Told myself it was the final push they needed. Told myself it would be different this time. And the thing that still haunts me? I felt proud doing it. 3 days later, I called Dale's number to check in. It went straight to voicemail. And then I noticed something strange. Their business website was gone. Just gone. At first, I thought maybe the site was under maintenance. Maybe their hosting had expired. I had seen that happen with small businesses before. Nothing unusual. But the more I looked, the more I realized it was not just the website. Their business page on social media? Gone. The company email? Bounced back. Their LLC filing? Lapsed. They did not just go dark. They had unplugged the whole damn thing. I stared at my laptop for a long time that night. My stomach had that sinking, slow-motion feeling, like when you drop a glass and watch it fall, knowing there is no stopping it now. I tried to call Amanda again. No answer. I tried texting Dale. Nothing. So I did something I had not done in years. I drove to their house. It was a Tuesday evening. Overcast sky. I remember the way the clouds looked like ash smudges above the rooftops. Their house sat at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac. White shutters, red door, kids' bikes in the driveway. Everything looked normal. Until I knocked. The woman who answered was not Amanda. She was a middle-aged realtor, clipboard in hand, looking surprised to see me. "This house is under contract," she said, flipping through paperwork. "The previous owners moved out 2 weeks ago." 2 weeks. That was 3 days before they told me they needed just a bit more time. I asked if she knew where they went. She shook her head. Left no forwarding address. Just paid off the final fees and left. I stood there on the porch, trying to process it. The wind kicked up, and for a second I thought I might throw up right there on the concrete. That was the moment it really hit me. They were not calling back because they were busy. They were not replying because they were gone. And they were not just gone, they planned it. They knew. They took the money, shut it all down, and vanished. No goodbye, no explanation, no apology, nothing. That night, I opened my banking app again, hoping maybe I had missed something. Some deposit, some refund, anything. What I found instead was a pending charge I did not recognize, $647 at a luxury hotel. And the name on the reservation? Amanda Grady. I must have stared at that pending charge for a full minute, trying to convince myself it was some kind of glitch. Maybe another Amanda Grady. Maybe the system got wires crossed. But the card number was mine. The one I had used to wire them money. The one I had given Amanda access to so she could handle the transfer faster. That was when the illusion snapped. All that talk about family, loyalty, helping each other, it all crumbled right there, replaced by a single, ugly truth. They had not just taken the money. They had taken me for a fool. I called the bank right away. Told them it was unauthorized. The rep on the line said they would open an investigation, but her tone carried that detached politeness you hear when someone has already decided how little they can do. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw their faces, Amanda's tearful thank you, Dale's handshake, the kids' drawings on the fridge when I handed them the check. All of it felt staged now. By morning, I had a plan. I started calling every contact I had from Dale's old business, suppliers, partners, even the crew foreman he had bragged about. Most of the calls went to voicemail. The few that picked up told me the same story. Payments had stopped months ago. Workers had not been paid in full. Tools, trucks, everything had been sold off quietly. And then one guy, a gravel supplier named Tom, said something that made my blood run cold. "Funny you ask about Dale," he said. "Saw him last week, actually. Down in Clearwater. Pulled up in a new truck. Told me he and his wife were starting fresh down south." I thanked him and hung up, just sitting there in silence, my hands shaking. Clearwater, Florida. It made sense. Dale always talked about wanting to move there one day. Cheap business taxes, warm weather. He used to call it his second chance state. I opened my laptop and started searching. It took less than an hour to find them. New Facebook accounts. Different names, same faces. Amanda had dyed her hair darker, gone by Mandy. Dale had dropped his old last name. Their kids were smiling in photos by a beach, holding ice cream cones. The caption read, "New beginnings. Finally home." My throat tightened. They were not struggling. They were thriving on my dime. I sat there, reading every post, every smiling caption, until it felt like I had swallowed a mouthful of glass. I wanted to call her, to scream, to demand she explain how she could do this to her own brother. But I did not. I just closed the laptop, sat back, and let the silence swallow the room. For the first time in my life, I understood what betrayal really sounded like. It sounded like nothing, just quiet. 2 days later, I got a letter in the mail, no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. In her handwriting, it said, "Please stop looking for us. We did what we had to do." And at the bottom, there was something else, an address scribbled in pencil. A Florida address. I sat with that letter for hours. At first, I thought maybe it was an apology, a way to make things right. But the more I read it, the more I realized what it really was. A warning. Please stop looking for us. Not "we're sorry," not "we'll pay you back," not even "thank you." Just a quiet little threat wrapped in fake politeness. That was the moment something shifted inside me. See, I used to believe that loyalty meant sacrifice, that you gave everything you had, even if it left you with nothing, because that is what family was supposed to do. But what I had done was bleed for people who had no intention of catching me when I fell. And now I was the one stuck with the debt. Creditors were already calling. The second loan against the house. That interest was stacking fast. My savings? Barely enough for 2 months of rent, and I had slashed every expense I could. I was alone. No calls from Amanda. No texts. Not even from my parents, who had somehow managed to stay out of all of this. They never asked how I was doing, never offered help. It was like the whole thing had never happened. Like I had never happened. I remember the moment clearly. It was late, somewhere around 2 in the morning. I was sitting at my tiny kitchen table, bills fanned out in front of me like some cruel deck of cards. That letter was still there, folded in half. That Florida address staring at me like a dare. So I made a choice. I booked a one-way flight to Clearwater. Not to confront them. Not to scream or demand anything. I just wanted to see it for myself. I needed to know, really know, that I had not imagined all of it. That they were not barely scraping by. That they were not living in some rundown shack with broken dreams and regret. Because some part of me still wanted to believe that. That maybe they needed to do what they did. But when I arrived, all I saw was truth. A neat little ranch-style house with fresh paint and a rental sign still hanging off the mailbox. A silver SUV in the driveway. Beach chairs stacked on the porch. And laughter. I watched from a parked car across the street. I stayed there for 20 minutes. Dale walked out once, flipping burgers on a grill. Amanda brought out drinks. Their kids were running barefoot across the grass, chasing a dog I had never seen before. They looked happy. Not desperate. Not ashamed. Not like people haunted by what they had done. They looked free. Like I had never existed. As I sat there gripping the steering wheel, trying not to lose it, my phone buzzed. A new email. From the collection agency. They were moving forward with legal action. The email was short and brutal. No sugarcoating, no second chances. The collection agency had officially filed for a lien against my property. That meant my house, the one I had spent years slowly building equity in, was now on the chopping block. I had poured over $50,000 into Amanda and Dale's bottomless pit, and now I was the one at risk of losing everything. Not them. Me. I sat in that rental car, staring at the perfect little scene across the street, and I felt something break. Not anger. No, that had burned out weeks ago. This was colder. It was the realization that I had been clinging to a fantasy. That family sticks together. That when you fall for them, they pull you back up. But here I was, falling. And the people I fell for were the same ones who cut the rope. I flew back home the next morning. No confrontation. No dramatic scene. Just a long flight, cramped seat, and a storm sitting behind my eyes that never left. When I got back, I called my parents. Figured maybe they had heard from Amanda. Maybe they could help cover even a piece of the loan. My mom answered. She sounded tired. When I brought it up, she sighed like I had asked her to help move a couch. "Oh, Mark, I think it's best you let it go." I asked if she knew what Amanda and Dale had done. She said yes. Then she said something I will never forget. "You always had more stability than them. You will bounce back." Bounce back. That was it. No outrage. No support. Not even a whisper of disappointment in Amanda. Just this quiet, familiar shrug. The same one I had seen 100 times as a kid when Amanda took credit for something I did or got out of trouble she caused. I hung up without saying goodbye. Then I called every friend I had lent money to over the years. Not to ask for it back. I just wanted to see who answered. Out of 9 calls, only 2 picked up. One of them talked for 3 minutes before pivoting to their own problems. The other one said he would check in soon. They never did. The rest? Silence. I used to think the worst pain came from losing money or losing sleep. But no. The worst pain is realizing that you were never as important to someone as they were to you. A week later, I got an envelope from the county clerk's office. Inside was the official notice. The foreclosure process had started. I had always believed I was careful. Not paranoid, just responsible. I paid things off early. Took the smaller car. Skipped vacations. I lived lean on purpose, because I knew life could turn on you fast. But knowing something in theory and living it are two very different things. When that foreclosure notice landed in my lap, it was like someone had walked into my home, grabbed the walls, and started squeezing them inward. Suddenly, I could not sleep. I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, calculating how many days I had left. 30, maybe 45 if I could work out a miracle. I reached out to the bank, tried to negotiate. They offered a short deferment, but the interest kept building. I sold what I could. My tools, my backup laptop, even the guitar I had owned since college. Every little sale bought me maybe a day, maybe two. Meanwhile, the people I had helped, they were thriving. I saw another post from Amanda on a burner account. I should not have looked, but I did. They had started a local property maintenance company. Had a shiny new logo. Pictures of Dale in a polo shirt, shaking hands with a smiling client. Their caption read, "Second chances are real. You just have to take them." Take them. I had handed them a second chance, and they used it to erase me. I tried to tell myself this would not break me, that I would recover. But the deeper I sank, the quieter things got. Friends stopped calling. Coworkers stopped checking in. The only emails I got were overdue notices. Every day I woke up with this sick, low-level panic in my chest. And every night, I lay there listening to the creak of my house, wondering how long before it belonged to someone else. You know what really messed with my head? I started to wonder if maybe I was the idiot. Maybe I should have seen it coming. Maybe I should have said no. Maybe the people who keep their heads down and protect their own are the smart ones, and suckers like me, the ones who go broke helping family, are just getting what they deserve. Maybe Amanda was right to disappear. Maybe Dale was smarter than I gave him credit for. And just like that, shame started to creep in. Not because I failed, but because I let them use me. And I let them win. But then, just when I thought I was about to lose everything, I got a call from someone I had not heard from in over a decade. And he said 8 words that pulled me back from the edge. "You helped me once. Now it's my turn." His name was Jalen. We had worked together at a crummy warehouse back when I was just out of college. Young, broke, and trying to figure out how to afford rent and ramen at the same time. He had been going through a rough patch back then. Divorce, custody battle, no car, barely hanging on. I had lent him $500 once. It was nothing huge, just a quiet moment behind a shipping crate. He looked like he was about to crack, and I handed him a folded envelope and said, "You do not have to pay me back. Just use it." I never thought about it again, but he remembered. "I heard about what happened," he said. "I'm sorry it took me this long, but I've done well lately. Really well." He ran an auto parts business now, had a team, contracts, a warehouse of his own. Said he had gotten a heads up from someone in my old freelance circle about the foreclosure notice. I do not know how he tracked me down, but when he told me he wanted to help, I did something I had not done in months. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I had forgotten what it felt like to have someone show up. I tried to tell him I could not take anything from him. He cut me off. "You helped me when no one else would," he said. "This isn't charity. This is balance." By the end of that week, I had a short-term loan from him, 0 interest. Enough to buy me time. He even connected me with a small tech firm that needed a security audit done in a rush. That one job paid more than I had made in the last 2 months combined. Suddenly, I was breathing again. Not dancing, not celebrating, but breathing. And it hit me. Loyalty is not about blood. It is about memory. The people I bled for forgot me the second they were safe. But the guy I helped a lifetime ago, he remembered. 2 weeks later, with my house saved and bills finally covered, I got a package in the mail. No note, no return address, just a small box. Inside was Amanda's wedding ring. I stared at that ring like it was some cursed artifact. I knew it the second I saw it. It was Amanda's. Classic design, modest diamond, gold band with a tiny chip near the bottom. She used to fidget with it during dinner, twisting it around her finger when she was nervous. Now it was sitting in a cardboard box, wrapped in tissue, no note, no explanation. At first, I thought it might be a mistake. Maybe someone sent it as some weird joke. But the postmark? Clearwater. No doubt about it. I turned it over in my hand, looking for meaning. A message. A reason. But it was just quiet. Then, 2 days later, I got an email. Burner account. No name. Just one line. I did not know what else to give you. I know it is not enough. It had to be Amanda. The way it was written, the tone, it sounded like her when she used to screw up and try to fix things with gestures instead of words. But this time, it was different. This was not an apology. This was surrender. Some part of her, I think, finally realized what they had done. That they had crossed a line they could never uncross. And that ring? That was her way of saying, I took something from you, and all I have left to return is this. But it was not about the money anymore. It was not even about the house. It was about what it cost me to believe in people who saw me as nothing more than a safety net. I held that ring in my hand for a long time, then dropped it into a drawer and closed it. Not because I forgave her, but because I was finally done letting her take up space in my life. That drawer could keep her, and the guilt she finally decided to feel, locked away. For good. And yet, the next morning, just when I thought it was over, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, standing there was someone I never expected to see again. Dale. I did not say a word at first. I just stood there in the doorway, barefoot, half awake, staring at the man who had wrecked my life, and walked away smiling. Dale looked different. Not broken, not begging. Just tired. Like he had not slept in days. He had a duffel bag slung over his shoulder and dirt on his jeans. He opened his mouth like he was about to launch into some speech. But then he stopped, sighed, and asked if he could come in. I almost said no. But something in his eyes, something hollow, made me step aside. We sat at the kitchen table. The same table I had spread bills across. The same one where I once wired him the money that cost me everything. He reached into the bag and pulled out a thick envelope. It's not all of it, he said. But it's something. I did not touch it. Instead, I asked the one question that had been clawing at me since the day they disappeared. Why? He stared down at his hands for a long time before answering. I thought I could fix it, he said. At first, the business was falling apart. I was drowning, and I figured if I could just get one last push, I could make it work. I stayed silent. And when it didn't, he continued, we panicked. Amanda was scared. I was angry. We started planning the exit before we even told you how bad it was. He looked up at me then. I knew what we were doing was wrong, but it was easier to run than to look you in the eye and admit we failed. I nodded slowly, more out of exhaustion than anything else. You were family, Dale. He looked away. I know. That's what makes it worse. We sat in silence. Just the hum of the refrigerator filling the air. Then he stood. I'm not staying. I just needed you to know it never sat right. None of it. He left the envelope on the table and walked to the door. Before he stepped out, he turned back once. She misses you, he said. But she knows you won't come back. I think that's why she sent the ring. Then he was gone. Just like that. I opened the envelope. It was filled with cash. Maybe 10 grand, maybe more. I did not count it. I stuffed it in the back of a drawer and walked outside. Cold air. Quiet street. Empty sky. And I realized something. I had spent so long trying to make peace with people who had already made peace without me. I had been chasing closure like it was something they owed me. But the truth? Closure is not something you wait for. It is something you choose. So I chose to let it end. No revenge. No grand speech. No social media post to burn the world down. Just me. Still standing. Still working. Still rebuilding. Not for them. Not for payback. But for the man in the mirror who gave everything and finally decided he was enough. Sometimes, the people you break yourself to save are the first to leave you behind. But the worst thing you can do is keep waiting for them to come back and tell you it mattered. Because the truth is, loyalty means nothing to the people who only show up when things are good. But it means everything to the person who learns to show up for themselves when no one else will.